Well, let's fix that, shall we? What better time to play the current best Demon Hunter spec than now? Hello there, I'm Flame from Marcelian&Flame, and today I will help you get back on that Demon Hunter horse with talents, rotations, and everything quick and importable so you can queue for a dungeon and a raid as soon as you're done watching this video. This season, the absolute best hero talents will be Eldrazi. However, Felskard seems very close and likely will get closer as the patch goes on. We will focus on the best builds to ensure you get into groups and slap. So to slap in dungeons, use this build right here. It focuses a lot on immolation damage and you don't have to worry about mobility abilities being part of your rotation. For raids, however, this build is the best at this moment and does have the Exergy talent. It's likely not what you think. The majority of your movement will just be using Vengeful Retreat on cooldown to activate it and the occasional The Hunt. A far cry from the insane zoominess of the old momentum build. In Delves, you can just use the same build that we recommended in Dungeons. It has a nice balance of AoE and single target damage output, enough to get the job done in pesky Delves while keeping you alive. All of these builds are linked in the description and you can simply copy-paste the links inside of your own game. Additionally, you can check Shadarek's Wowhead guide for a lot more details, builds with Felskard, less strong builds that focuses on no mobility at all, and in-depth information about Havoc in general. What is even Havoc all about? I will give you the rundown in a second, but I have to mention our Patreons who are making these guides possible, without the help of whom we wouldn't be able to accomplish this. If you want to be a part of the team, help us make more guides in the future, and maybe get early access to videos, head on over to patreon.com/Marcelian&Flame and see if something catches your eye. Back to Havoc, the spec is primarily a builder-spender DPS spec. You build Fury with your auto attacks, Immolation Aura, I-Beam, and other abilities, and spend it on Blade Dance and Chaos Strike. It gets a bit more interesting when you factor in the offensive cooldowns. The easiest and most accessible is Demonic, which gets enabled by using I-Beam. It transforms you into your demon form, boosting your damage and your spender abilities, transforming your Chaos Strike into Annihilation and your Blade Dance into Death Sweep. Of course, you also have your Metamorphosis that gives you your demon form for way longer. An important cooldown for the Eldrazi hero talents will be the Hunt. When you use this, you activate your Reaver's Glaive, which gets activated when you also consume enough soul shards. Once this is active, you shoot it out and your next Chaos Strike and Blade Dance empower you by giving you a lot more damage depending on the order you use them in. You start with Chaos Strike and Blade Dance if you are in AoE and vice versa in single target. To pair this up, you also have Essence Break, a frontal cone that debuffs enemies to take extra damage from your Chaos Strike and Blade Dance. This ideally is paired with your Demon Form and other small buffs like the one Vengeful Retreat gives you, making these two abilities something you will always want to pair together. More on this in the rotation. And since you will be playing Eldrazi primarily, you want to remember that Fellblade will always be reset after your Vengeful Retreat, and it also collects all of the souls currently available, so you don't have to individually pick them up. As such, you can put out a bunch of combos with Vengeful Retreat, Fellblade, I-Beam, and Essence Break to create mini burst windows. Mini as in they're short, but the damage you do is crazy good. To keep it as simple as possible, let's talk about the opener for single target first. It's a lot of abilities, so make sure to pause the video if you need to and practice on a training dummy until you can do these without assistance. Before the pull happens, cast Immolation Aura and Sigil of Flame, then use the Hunt and immediately Reaver's Glaive, Fellblade for Fury, then I-Beam, Chaos Strike or Annihilation, Essence Break, Death Sweep, Vengeful Retreat into instant Metamorphosis, Death Sweep again, Annihilation again, I-Beam, and Sigil of Spite. The opener is a bit tricky, but it takes advantage of all the little burst windows you can do to fit in as much damage as you can. When you are mid-fight, the most important things you need to do is to always cast Death Sweep during Essence Break windows. Then Annihilation, the same condition. Use your Reaver's Glaive after you have consumed all previous Reaver's Glaive buffs, since you will be getting a lot of these. There are ways to optimize it for better performance, which is a bit more advanced, so we recommend remembering to not waste the empowered Chaos Strikes and Blade Dances of one Reaver's Glaive before shooting out another, and not over-generate glaives without forgetting to throw them out. The next most important ability is a little offensive cooldown called Sigil of Spite. This does AoE damage and shatters more souls to fuel your next Reaver's Glaive. Use Vengeful Retreat on cooldown to keep up Exergy. Only cast the Hunt if you do not already have a Reaver's Glaive available, since this will generate another one and delete the previous you had, wasting your damage potential. Use Essence Break only while in your demon form. Once all of these conditions have been met, make sure to cast Death Sweep whenever available. Metamorphosis only when I-Beam is on cooldown. Blade Dance if available. Sigil of Flame if you are under 90 Fury as to not waste any. Annihilation next in terms of importance. Fell Blade to generate Fury if you have less than 60. Chaos Strike as your spammable ability. Immolation Aura otherwise, and if there is literally nothing else to do, use your Throw Glaives and Fell Rushes. In AoE, with the build we gave you for dungeons, you open up with Sigil of Flame into the Hunt. Use Reaver's Glaive, Chaos Strike, Blade Dance, dump all Immolation Aura charges, and only after that use I-Beam. Annihilation, Death Sweep, Vengeful Retreat into Metamorphosis, Death Sweep again, Annihilation again, I-Beam, and finish off with Sigil of Spite. Still a bit spicy as an opener, but way simpler without the Essence Break. As for the priority of importance of your abilities, when you are mid-combat, make sure you always use Reaver's Glaive as soon as you get it. Never let Immolation Aura stay at 2 charges. Use Vengeful Retreat before you cast your empowered Blade Dance from Reaver's Glaive, since it gives you crit chance from your initiative talent. Use the Hunt on cooldown if you have no available Reaver's Glaives to shoot out. Similar to single target, Death Sweep is your most important ability once everything I mentioned has been checked for. Use Sigil of Spite next in terms of priority. Metamorphosis only if I-Beam is on cooldown. Blade Dance if available. I-Beam if available. Sigil of Flame for all the Sigil benefits. Immolation Aura otherwise. Annihilation next as far as its importance goes. Chaos Strike otherwise. Fell Blade is next on the list, and if you find yourself with all of the above on cooldown or not available, use Throw Glaive or Fell Rush. I play Havoc among other specs and classes live on twitch.tv/Marcelian&Online. Catch me there and join the dungeons and raids we do. We can talk Havoc things, or the third eagerly anticipated spec by everyone. Havoc is not as easy as it once was, but for all its complexity, the fun factor has never been higher. To make sure you engage with all of your Demon Hunter toolkit, remember you have Darkness as one of the best defensive cooldowns for your party and raid when the sauce thickens. You have AoE crowd control in Chaos Nova that stuns mobs, and Sigil of Misery which fears them in place. Together with Imprison, that normally gets used in dungeons to skip certain packs by taking a mob out of commission so it doesn't aggro your party. The utility kind of stops here, and as opposed to a lot of other specs, Havoc tends to trouble people with its general rotation way more, since you have a bunch of abilities you need to cast in a certain order to exploit their benefits the most, and this can only be done with practice. No amount of one button rotation will help you, unfortunately, but we do have Havoc weak auras that show you the most important things you need to react to so as to not waste damage potential. A link to these is in the description. But if there are a few tips I can tell you that helped me, that is to always remember your Reaver's Glaive enables a mini game, a dance, if you will, that empowers your next Chaos Strike and Blade Dance, and the one you cast second will get a bigger buff than the first, so depending on the number of targets you are fighting, you want the second ability to be the proper one for the scenario. That means bosses will be hit by Blade Dance first and then Chaos Strike, while a pack of mobs will be hit by Chaos Strike first and then Blade Dance. Additionally, when you use Chaos Strike in this little dance, whether it is the first or second ability, it applies a mark on your target that makes it take more damage than everyone else. So make sure you Chaos Strike the correct target that needs to die first if you fight more than one enemy. Gearing and general stats can follow a simple priority order that sees item level as your most important focus, followed by critical strike, mastery, haste, and versatility last. You will have control on about half of your stats since things like tier sets are pretty much locked in. But really, if you are actually interested in getting the most out of your gear, you will need to sim on raidbots.com. We have videos on our channel for this as well, or you can just ask me on stream how to do it. Speaking of tier sets, the bonuses change based on your hero talent, and as such, the Eldrazi bonuses will be what you will be after for now. The 2 set bonuses just passively increases your damage as you play the hero talent. The 4 set bonus is also mostly passive with one caveat. The reverse mark I mentioned earlier can now stack to 3 times as opposed to the baseline 2, making your priority damage that much more important. This can alter your choices in AoE, where even if you want to deal the most AoE damage possible, sometimes you might want to kill one target quicker, so you still use Chaos Strike second if you are fighting a very dangerous enemy that just needs to die way faster than the rest of the pack. As you can see, there's quite the depth to the spec right now, and if you want to advance your gameplay further, we recommend you check Shadarek's guide linked in the description, but also join the Fellhammer Discord where the best of the best Havocs hang around, answer questions and improve together. We also recommend you check our week aura video right here, since it goes into what Demon Hunter can track to make your rotation easier and your decisions more straightforward, on top of getting class weak auras for all the other alts you might have.